Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. Let's talk a little bit about nostalgia for the past. Now, I'm not going to go into some Norman Rockwell crap. I want to talk about the path that we're on of personal growth. It can be quite scary to embark on this journey because you literally give up who you used to be. I gave up who I used to be. I gave up who I was. And that's really scary because it's all you know. And you march off on this path towards being a better person into the unknown because you don't really know. You may have an idea, but you don't really know who you want to be or who you're going to end up being. All you know is that you're giving up everything. Everything that feels solid, that feels real, that feels tangible. You're giving it up for this unknown fantasy. They talk about this in the story of, of Exodus, where Moses goes out into the desert and they get lost in this little itty bitty desert. And I've been in that region of the country. They get lost in this little itty bitty desert for 40 years. I guess they were just going in circles. They certainly didn't have GPS. Could have taken them 4 weeks, instead it was 40 years. And people lost their faith and they started to get angry at Moses and they started to get nostalgic and kind of longing for the suffering of the past, for where they used to be. They wanted to go back. They were contemplating, maybe we should go back to Egypt, back to the tyranny. So you have to ask yourself, what's better? To be lost in the desert for 40 years or to toil away in a tyrannical dictatorship for the rest of your life? Lost in the desert with just a hope and a dream. How long can you hold on to that? And I know what this is like because when I started to walk this path of daily discipline, mind, body, and soul programming, I started to lose friends. They started to notice how I was changing, and they didn't really like me anymore. I wasn't the same guy that they had always been around. I was changing. They didn't like that type of person. And I didn't really like them anymore. It wasn't so heartbreaking because I found that most of my friends were go nowhere, do nothing losers, idiot losers, holding themselves back in life. And I was tired of holding myself back in life. I wasn't going to die in the ghetto. You guys can all do that if that's what you want. And they say, well, they don't want to. Well, then why are you doing it? And I lost these friends for life. They never came back around. They never said, oh man, we saw what you were going through and didn't understand it, but now we're more mature and older. Nobody has seen the light. I lost a part of me, a person who I used to be, that I worked hard to create. And all my friends, not just buddies, but girlfriends, I lost it all, a whole world. I walked away from it. And I regretted it for years as I'm sitting around by myself, lonely, wondering what to do, holding on to these dreams I have of becoming a better person, of changing my life. And I thought countless times, can I go back to who I used to be? Can I be who I used to be? Can I go back to the suffering that I used to be in? Would that be a more comfortable place to be? At least I know that. At least I can do that. I embark on this journey to be a better person, and it felt for many years that all I was doing was just turning myself into some loser. Because I didn't see a lot of growth. I didn't see a lot of support. I'm just literally out in the desert by myself, walking around. And at night, when you're sleeping out in the desert, lost, sure, you think about that warm bed that you used to have, even if that warm bed was in a bad place with bad people. and this can be a dilemma for people. It can feel really hard, almost impossible, because you know in your heart of hearts you can't stay where you are. You can't stay living in the tyranny. You couldn't stay in Egypt. You had to leave. But being lost in the desert fucking sucks. And you can tell yourself, like I try to tell myself, well, I'm not where I want to be, but at least I'm not where I used to be. I'm not who I want to be, but at least I'm not who I used to be. That's every morning. My neighbor's truck. It's not a big truck. That's a 6-cylinder Chevy truck. But he's got exhaust pipes that are fatter than my head. I have a truck where the engine is twice the size of his, and it's much quieter. But what's keeping you going forward? If you get so homesick for the past. I mean, you can really sabotage your destiny through seeking comfort. And you say, well, at least it's not a life of suffering, but it is. I could go back to the ghetto anytime I want. I could go and reclaim that life anytime I want. I could move back to Los Angeles in the barrio anytime I want. They're all waiting for me. The cops are waiting for me. The streets are waiting for me. The bums are waiting to beg from me. All my friends in prison are waiting for me to send money to their books. Waiting for me to come in there with them. The jail guards would be like, welcome back, motherfucker. We knew you were coming back. We've been waiting for you. We kept your bed warm. But I choose to be lost out here in the desert. Because I'd rather spend my life working towards a fantasy, a hope and a dream and a prayer, than to spend it sitting in the dust and the misery of the past, rotting away, having my mind atrophy, wondering every single second of every single day, is this all that life is? This is what I get? This is what this planet is? Having to carry pistols to protect yourself and wondering every single day, should I just put that thing in my fucking mouth? No, you have to keep pushing forward into the unknown, because you have to remember, in the story of Exodus, they made it. Moses stood there at the top of Mount Nebo. I've stood in his exact spot and saw the exact location that he saw. And even though he didn't make it into the city himself, he died at Mount Nebo. In my opinion, Moses made it because his people made it. He delivered his people to the promised land. And for 40 years, they questioned it. But it was the faith that brought them through. Are you ready to turn around? Are you ready to go back? Are you saying, Sky, fuck this, man? This ain't happening. This just feels like we're wandering around doing nothing. I don't feel like we're getting anywhere. You let us out in the middle of nowhere. At least where I was, I recognized those streets. I recognized those faces. I know what to do. I know how to survive in that. I don't even know how to survive out in this world. All I can tell you is the same thing that Moses was most likely telling his people. Shut your dumb ass up. Get to work. Mind, body, and soul every fucking day. Stop thinking about the fucking past. It doesn't exist. You can't go back. All we're going to do is go forward, and we're going to die trying. I don't want to hear another goddamn word about you motherfuckers talking about going back. About how somehow that was fucking better. You're not going fucking back. Food for thought.